Ms. Sachs, I again ask you, why did you go to the Middle East to shake hands with a terrorist, especially post-October 7th? Why were you even in the Middle East? You're not the Prime Minister. You're not the Foreign Affairs Minister. Ms. Sachs, your government invoked the Emergencies Act to shut down a peaceful protest. In Ottawa, you froze bank accounts of Canadians. We have chants of genocide and violence in the streets of Canada. Why aren't you doing anything about that? Sorry, who are you? David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. And folks, I'm at the University of Toronto, specifically the Mahal Centre for Engineering, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And you see the MP for York Centre, that would be Yara Sachs, she's dropping by to make some sort of an announcement about a green initiative. And that's really interesting, isn't it, folks? Because that isn't part of her bailiwick. I mean, Yara Sachs is the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions. What is she doing talking about some kind of Green New Deal? But then again, Yara Sachs does tend to wander off the ministerial range, doesn't she? Months ago, she flew over to the Middle East to shake hands with terrorist Mahmoud Abbas. Can you imagine? This is an odious individual that runs a pay-for-slay operation. If you kill a Jew or Israeli, you get a check, or if you die doing it, your family gets a check. And Yara Sachs herself is a Canadian-Israeli Jew. Why would you ever get within 10 meters of that despicable individual? But in any event, she's going to make some sort of announcement. I imagine it'll be the usual greenwashing BS, especially since when these ministers come to make announcements about climate change, they're in Chevy Suburbans, 8-cylinder engines, fossil fuels. Oh, and by the way, keep the engine running. Don't want Minister Sachs to get into a vehicle that is a little warm on a humid day like today. So we're going to go in. I'm going to try to scrum her. And, let's see if we even get past the gatekeepers.
Level 8. It also really helps when you're talking about things like reducing our emissions. I always like, because I find sometimes I feel a little bit of climate anxiety when I talk about where we're at. We talk about things like what we've just seen happening in Jasper.
I'm David Menzies with Rebel News.
Oh, Rebel News? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There are investments like the Canada Infrastructure Bank, one of the largest, if not the largest, battery storage facilities in the world.
How you doing?
In North America.
Julia.
It's
Nice to meet you.
right here with the Six Nations.
Do you mind letting me know what news outlet you're with?
Yes, we can. Rebel News.
There are different pieces, and another part of that, when you kind of move up the pyramid, is a specific program funding that includes SREP. So the SREP program's been helping to build out our grid.
Okay.
Here in Ontario, there are major projects like
Just in the background of the photos, do you mind just scooting, respectfully, just scooting a little bit to the side?
Sorry, and who are you?
They're just trying to take photos. Do you mind just moving a bit?
Oh, you want me to move this way? Okay. Sorry, I'm just asking who you are, though. I've been asked to move. The filthy image of David the Menzoid Menzies being in the group photo is evidently distasteful. Good morning, David Menzies with Rebel News. My question is for Minister Sachs. Why did you travel to the Middle East to shake hands with Mahmoud Abbas, a terrorist who runs a pay-for-slay scheme?
Okay, so we're just going to be doing questions just strictly related to today's announcement.
I think this is a more important issue, given the state of the world, than what's happening now. And the minister has avoided these questions. Also, Minister, do you think it's a good idea that your government is planning on bringing thousands of Gazans into our country? These are people even Arab Middle East nations won't take in. Given what we've seen in the streets of Canada for the last 8 months of people chanting for genocide, surely you, as a Canadian-Israeli Jew, you should have some skin in the game. What do you say to this decision? Well, I'm waiting your answer.
I know we appreciate you're allowed to state your question, but I think that I don't know if there's going to be a response today, but we really appreciate you coming. And
Ms. Sachs, I again ask you, why did you go to the Middle East to shake hands with a terrorist, especially post-October 7th? Why were you even in the Middle East? You're not the Prime Minister. You're not the Foreign Affairs Minister. Ms. Sachs, your government invoked the Emergencies Act to shut down a peaceful protest. In Ottawa, you froze bank accounts of Canadians. We have chants of genocide and violence in the streets of Canada. Why aren't you doing anything about that? Sorry, who are you? Thank you. Minister Sachs, why won't you answer questions? What kind of a parliamentarian are you? You are a Canadian-Israeli Jew, correct? Why would you throw your own people, your own constituents under the bus? Do you regret meeting with a terrorist who runs a pay-for-slay operation? Minister Sachs, your silence is deafening. Why can't you answer these questions? If this was a good idea, why don't you explain it to the Canadian people? Do you think this has sealed your fate in York Centre, given your attitude and given the significant Jewish population in York Centre? Speaking of York Centre, when something like a Jewish girls' school gets shot up, why don't you attend the press conference? It's right in your writing. What kind of a person are you? Minister Sachs, can you answer any of these questions?
David, I was parked outside with the Yara Sachs truck, and then I was circling while you were inside the building. I haven't had a chance to look at your footage yet, but tell me just in a minute about your interaction, because I heard you actually met her.
It's incredible, Ezra. They asked for a media scrum, and I was the only journalist there that went up to the microphone. I had one question and one follow-up. My first question to Yara Sachs, given that you are a Canadian-Israeli Jew, how could you go to the Middle East and shake hands with Mahmoud Abbas?
David, looks like we got a visitor. Hey, come on here. I'm Ezra Levant. What's your name?
Mr. Ezra, I'm not supposed to be here.
Oh, why not?
Well, because you're on private property.
Oh,
You know what? I'm actually setting up an encampment, a Hamas encampment. So I'm not leaving without a court injunction, brother. You know what I'm talking about. Listen, I'm kidding around. Listen, I know it wasn't you who made the call. We're just doing a quick hello, and we'll be on our way. We're not like those lawbreakers. We're just going to finish the chat, and we'll be on the way. I know this is not on you.
Hey, my follow-up question is, do you think it's a good idea for your government to bring thousands of Gazans into our country?
Yeah, 3,000 have arrived already, or have been given visas already, I saw in the news today.
Especially given what we've seen in the streets these past 8 months, chants for genocide, vandalism, outright violence. She wouldn't answer that either. I asked her what kind of a parliamentarian she is that she won't answer these questions. No answer. In fact, it's no answer for everything. What else did I say? What's the likelihood of you getting reelected in York Centre?
Slim to none. I'm a voter. I live in her district. So, David, we'll let the footage speak for itself. I want to thank you for your intrepid journalism. Let me just clarify one thing you said. Are you saying that you're the only journalist who even went to do the scrum?
I'm the only one that went up to the microphone to ask a question.
Were there other journalists there too?
I couldn't tell. There were, but I didn't recognize anyone. But Ezra, if I may say something, Lincoln and I were clearly the skunks to the garden party. These are the beautiful people, the tall forehead people, the people that dine in Rosedale. And I think the reason they didn't bring the muscle out and say, you got to go, and I'd say, why? And they'd say it's private property. And I go, but wait a minute. I thought the rules are you got to get an injunction. Yeah. So I'll be here for 2 months. I'll see you then.
Well, listen, there is a local constable here, and, yes. I don't want to disrespect him because our battle is with the U of T and with the government and Yara Sachs, so we will be on our way. Yeah.
Oh, people of York Centre, do I feel your pain? Yara Sachs is your MP? What a horrible excuse for a parliamentarian. Folks, please go to our petition, firesachs.com. That's firesachs.com. Let's tell this reprehensible member of parliament, she's got to go.